Hi guys, welcome to Dramatic Knits. My name is Steve, also known as Dramatic Knits, and today is Sunday, July 17th, 2016. This is episode... well, I don't know what episode it is. I forgot to look it up. So, we're in the 250s, higher 250s, I think. So, if you're a returning viewer, thanks for coming back one more week. And if you're new, hopefully you enjoyed today's show. Returning viewers, you'll notice we're yet again in a different location. So I'm going to try to record on my iPad today and hope that I have enough storage on it to record this video in its whole. It's been 3 weeks since we've last spoke, and I have the house to myself, and I have tons of things to show you. So I thought I'd take advantage of it. I say I have the house to myself in terms of humans. However, not only do I have my two dogs with me, which one was just trying to get into my lap, I'm also dog sitting for my mom, and they went to a family party gathering in the Chicago suburbs, and so I texted to see when they were going to come back, and I haven't heard anything, so I'm hoping they don't show up in the middle of this video because I really do not want to have to edit two videos together. So you may hear some clicking. My mom's dog is a rather odd duck and just likes to just circle the first floor. She very rarely will sit down. So she just woke up. So we got her fed and out, and yeah. So how has your past 3 weeks been? It's been too long. I know recently Dramatic Knits has gone to a bi-weekly production schedule. However, due to Leading Men Fiber Arts vending in Lebanon, excuse me, I was corrected on how to pronounce it, Lebanon, Missouri last weekend at Fiber U, we were unable to record. And as you can see, Callie is not with me today. She actually went on vacation a little bit early and is visiting a family friend in Little Rock. And then we'll be driving over to Nashville later this week for the Super Summer Knit Together, which I'm wearing my t-shirt from last year. Callie and I will both be attending that retreat, which is hosted by the Knit Girls Video Podcast, which is a wonderful video podcast. And so we're excited, and my leading man will, of course, be coming with me as we will be vending there as well. But he's also making it his personal vacation, and he is actually out of town coming back today. He left yesterday to go to northern Indiana to pick up his mom, as she'll be staying with us a few days, and then she will be traveling with us to Nashville. So that's exciting. They're going to be gallivanting all over Nashville while I'm at the retreat, and of course we'll do dinners and things together. So excited for that. So what else has been going on in the past 3 weeks? Really, I've been doing a lot of dyeing and rescanning for Leading Men Fiber Arts. We've ended last weekend, as I said, at Fiber U in Missouri. We're going to be at the Super Summer Knit Together this weekend in Nashville. And then about 10 days after that, we will be at Stitches Midwest in Schaumburg, Illinois, which is a rather big show for us. And I'll be talking a little bit more about that in Center Stage. But on top of all that, we have a lot of wholesale orders coming in, and we have one rather large one that we've been working on for months, and we'll be working on for another month and a half or so, which I can't tell you about until September. So unfortunately, just know there's major things in the background going on. So there's that, and I've gone to a lot of open knitting times at my local yarn store, which is Les Moutons Rouge Knittery. And if you're in the Central Illinois location or can drive there, a lot of the Central Illinois local yarn stores are hosting a pipeline yarn crawl. So it's a lot of the stores, or all the stores that were at the Knitting Pipeline Spring Retreat, are hosting a yarn crawl with prizes and passports. So I know, I think Close Knit in Urbana, Illinois, Les Moutons Rouge Knittery in Bloomington, Fiber Universe in Peoria, Unique Fibers in Morton, and I swear there was one more that just got added. And I can't remember off the top of my head. But all of those have stores are hosting this yarn crawl. It's still relatively early. I've spent a lot of time prepping things and getting things in order, but I'm on my second cup of coffee, which is unusual. Really, I only drink like one normally anymore, but This is my Maine mug when Andy and I road tripped out to Maine. And my coffee this morning is blueberry crumble, I think. So, good. All right. Other than that, my leading man's birthday was this past week, so there's actually a balloon I got him and some decorations, and my major gift was these flowers. We have a local florist just down the street on our town square. Yes, we do have a town square. We're one of those quaint little towns, and I've heard a lot of good things about them, never been in there, so I decided to stop in, and they put everything together. I said he likes orange, and wham bam, thank you ma'am. I came back and they gave me a price range. I said, that sounds good. And I got some flowers, so I thought I'd put them in the background for you guys. So this is our buffet. I'm sitting at my dining room table. This is the TV I watch every morning when I'm eating my bowl of cereal before work. So yeah, I thought I'd try something new. And hopefully I have, like I said, I'm really hoping I have enough memory on this. I think I do, as long as I've learned how to clear things off. The problem is, when I bought all my Apple devices, portable devices like the iPad mini and our phones, I got like the lowest memory storage because I don't keep music and videos and all that stuff. I've now learned that I will need to upgrade next time that I purchase something so that I can record, because the video quality is a lot better. The lighting is self-regulating, it seems like. So I'm excited. We'll see. I just got to remember to look not at myself, but at the camera. So I guess. All right. So let's get to the knitting, shall we? All right. So what's taking a bow this week? What did I finish in these past 3 weeks? I actually finished 2 things. The first thing I finished was our Leading Men Fiber Arts knit along that we hosted in June through July. I think it was June 5th through July 10th. And that was our Newbie Vest knit along, which was the pattern Newbie Vest by Stephanie Lotvin. She's a wonderful designer that designed a vest from newbie all the way up to 18 months out of our callback base, which is our sport weight base. And so we hosted a knit along. And while we didn't have the greatest participation, those who involved were gung-ho and chattering it up. So I finished mine. Mine's out of the Anne with an E colorway, which was originally done as part of a kit with Anne of Little Skein and the Big Wool. And it was for the Anne of Green Gables kit that she put together. So this is one of the semi-solids that we did. And I did the lace version. There is a cabled version as well. And you can see that I went with the brown buttons. And they've got buttons down the side. It is completely reversible. It really doesn't matter which way you put it on. But I would probably say this is more like the front. But so cute, cute, cute. I do know somebody having a baby, and I wanted to give it to them, but then I remembered I really need this as a shop sample for next show season, because I'm hoping to bring in the pattern in our booth. So really enjoyable knit. I knit this on a size 4 US, which is a 3.5 millimeter needle. So quick, quick, quick. All right, next up, I finished my Yarnakuken boomerang. So if you're a new time viewer, I love the boomerang shape of scarf/shawl. It suits me the best. I think it's the most versatile in terms of being unisex. You can knit them in semi-solids all the way to variegateds. They tend not to pool or flash because you're always changing your number of stitches. And I really like it. So I try to get one on the needles, and I'm also trying to work up a lot of our yarns. I want to keep having one on the needles in one of Leading Men Fiber Arts yarns so that I can get a picture of garter stitch swatch to put with listings in the shop. So this is the Yarnakuken colorway, which was the Zombie Knitpocalypse Retreat colorway that premiered in June this year in Minnesota, and it's slowly making its way into the shop. I think we have some in Showstopper in the shop right now, but this is our Show Stealer colorway, or base, which is a superwash merino cashmere nylon blend. So really great for around the neck. And I like to tuck my ends in and flip it out a little bit. I love wearing these in my coat in the wintertime and zip up. It gives me that warmth, but I don't like things too close to my neck, especially with, the scruffy beardness here. You can tend to pill and wear at your knitting. So I really, really am happy with this. I love the way the greens worked up. I'm so happy with this colorway. And yeah, so we'll see if I keep this. I'm also contemplating putting some of my finished boomerangs, since it's my recipe and there's no copyright infringement, even though that can be up in the air as to what qualifies. But I'm tempted to throw some of my boomerangs up in my Etsy shop that I had opened when I started hand spinning yarn. So I don't know. We'll see. I'll let you know. So that is my Yarnakuchen boomerang, and I knit this on a size, I believe this one was on a size 5 US, which is a 3.75 millimeter. I usually use a 6, but I had started 2 at the same time, which I'll show you the second one in works in progress, and so I think I put one on a 5 and one on a 6. All right, so that's what I finished in the past 3 weeks. So let's move into what's performing this week. What am I currently working on? Guys, I was getting my works in progress down, and I was super excited about that because I felt like I was actually making progress on stuff. And then things happened. I got involved in a test knit for a pattern that will be premiering soon, which I'll talk to you about here in just a minute. I started a new knit along yesterday with my local yarn store, and then it's only going to get worse because I'm going to be starting 2 more projects while at the Super Summer Knit Together. Each class I'm taking is the beginnings of a new project, so, and not small. So let me quickly show you what I have worked on in the past 3 weeks. In my Fat Squirrel Fibers bag, this is the Knitting Pipeline 2016 bag. I tried to bag everything up to bring down here. I'm working on Space Dust by Amy Vandelar using Dreamin' Color Jilly with Cashmere in color number 902, which is Hello Dolly, which looks like this. And I'm using a size 3 US 3.25 millimeters. I made significant progress in this. This is Space Dust, so it has a star-ribbed mesh, and then it goes into a different texture here. I don't know if you can tell right at the end. Unfortunately, the iPad doesn't have autofocus, so and then it went back into the star rib mesh, and it will alternate between these 2 sections here at the end. But it's getting to a decent size, and I'm still going and still going, so liking that a lot. It's a fun knit. I enjoy it. So we'll try to get some more progress on that in the next 2 weeks, hopefully. This will be going with me to the retreat. But as I'm going to tell you here in just a minute, I'm going to have to focus a lot of my knitting time on one particular project. All right, next up is my Steady Beat boomerang. So as I said, I like to have a boomerang on the needles, working out of the Leading Men Fiber Arts yarn. And I had started this one at the Zombie Knit Apocalypse as well. Unfortunately, I'm in the middle of a row. Who would have thunk that? So you just saw the shape. I can show you at least how the yarn is working up. I'm in the middle of a row. I work on this while I'm rescanning. I can just pick it up, knit a few stitches, and put it back down. So you can see the color there. This is Steady Beat, and this is knit out of our Spotlight base, which is 80% superwash BFL, which is Blueface Leicester wool, and 20% nylon. So highly recommend this for socks. It's not as soft as merino, but still, especially at this looser gauge, this is knit on a size 6 US 4 millimeters. It's not going to be, it's still next to skin soft by all means. So that's that. Next up, I cast on a new pair of socks. I use my random number generator on my stash, which if you're new, when I bring in new yarn, I tend to pair it with a project on Ravelry. And then when I want to cast on a new project out of my stash, I look at how many things I have in my stash, I enter those numbers into a random number generator, and it picks a skein of yarn for me. And what I then pick out that yarn, and whatever project I have paired with that yarn, I knit. Well, I don't have projects paired with my self-striping yarn because I'm planning on knitting socks or fingerless mitts or what have you. So the random number generator picked out some Hiwassee Creek Dye Works BFL Twister in Flamingo Lingo, and I'm not sure if she's dyeing anymore. I haven't seen her post anything in a really long time. I was part of her yarn club. I think it was 3 months, a 3-month yarn club maybe, back in 2013. And this was one of the club colorways called Flamingo Lingo. And so it goes between that very light silver, salmony pink, sour apple green, and a very soft tan. And I think I'm going to be making these for Andy's mom, so it'd be nice. I'm going to get her measurements while she's here, I think, so I can really customize them to her feet, because I kind of, when I've knit her socks before, I just kind of knit them, and then I'm like, here you go. If they fit, great. If not, find somebody who can use them. So I'm knitting these on a size 1 US, which is a 2.25 millimeter, but I did do a 64 stitch on a size 1, just because I know it's going to her, and she's a woman, and I usually knit 68 to 72. Actually, I was doing 68 in a size 1.5, but when I went down to size 1s, I went back up to 72 for myself. So it's looking really small. I'm going to have her try it on and make sure that she can get it over her heel. But, so yeah, I did about 20 rounds of 2x2 rib, and then I started down the stockinette legs. So that's going. Haven't given that much love. All right. Next project I posted onto Instagram. So if you're new to the podcast, or even if you're new to hearing about Leading Men Fiber Arts, which is the dye company that my partner and myself own and operate, every month we come out with a new colorway, so that we keep a schedule with our new colorways. And they are on pre-order status for the first week of the month, and then they are guaranteed to ship by the last day of the month. And so we had posted in the beginning of July our July colorway of the month, which I called Cherry Blossoms. And I knew once I dyed it up that I wanted to start this project, and I wanted to pair it with a certain color. So this is Cherry Blossoms. It is a speckled colorway. And I wanted to pair it with our Rosewood colorway, which is one of the speckles in there. And I knew I wanted to work on Pure Joy by Joji Locatelli. And I'm sorry my eyes are going between the camera and myself. It's taking some getting used to. And so I worked on this a lot last weekend. I had, it was about 4.5, 5 hours to Missouri, and then I knit on this all through both days at the show, at the hotel at night. I knit on this a lot. So, in fact, I think I'm on wedge 4 of 6. Maybe. No, I'm just starting the 5th wedge. I haven't worked on this in a little since then, really. But I am enjoying it. So this is knit with our Leading Men Fiber Arts showcase base in Cherry Blossoms and Rosewood, and a size 6 US, which is a 4 millimeter. So I Instagrammed about how much I was loving this project. The drape is beautiful on the size 6 with this light fingering weight yarn. You get 490 yards of 100% superwash merino. You can see how the speckles, look at that. Look at that, guys. I am in love with the speckles. We're doing a lot more speckles. I didn't bring our SSK colorway over here. I forgot. That's going to be premiering, but it's a speckled colorway on a gray base. I Instagrammed about it. It's also on the SSK boards if you're interested. So, yeah. Loving the Pure Joy. It's a super simple knit, filled with short rows with wraps and turns, but done in garter stitch, so you don't have to pick them up. And this is in my Bags by Awesome Granny bag. My socks were in a Silver Shed USA bag. My bow ties, that's my general sock bag. So, loving that. I'm using my needle protector that I got at the Zombie Apocalypse retreat. So, you just, it's a tube with plastic end at the end. Stick your needles in so they go all the way in, and then they won't really fall off, and they won't poke through your bag. So I'm loving that. But I gave that a lot of work, and unfortunately my attentions need to shift for at least a little bit. Oh, my cart is rolling away. Trying to put my finished projects out there so I can clear the table as I talk about things. So, the next thing I can't show you, but I am working on a test knit. I can show you the yarn. And it's living in my Fat Squirrel Fibers Super Summer Knit Together 2015 bag. I like her bags. They're my go-to bags. Besides Silver Shed USA, I have a lot of her bags too. So they're great for shawls because they can fit multiple skeins and your project. So I'm test knitting for one of my favorite designers, Sarah Berghardt Abram, who has designed a lot with Leading Men Fiber Arts, and this is no different. She will be premiering a new shawl design at Stitches Midwest, and we're super excited about it. She did some photography modeled shots yesterday and was texting me as they were coming in, and they're beautiful. I love them. The pattern is going to have 2 different options. It's got an amazing theme, and I can't tell you much more. We'll see if I can tell you next time record right before Stitches, but we will have kits at Stitches in several different pairings. But this pairing is done in Neon Pencil, which is another speckled colorway with this highlighter yellow, that bright pops of fuchsia, black, and a good majority of white, and then Darkest Hour, which is the black. So we'll have kits with this, with the Darkest Hour. Prom Queen will be another kit, and Electric Avenue, so the pink and the yellow. So I can't show you much else than that, but I really need to get this test knit done before Stitches. I've been working diligently on it every morning and every evening. I'm getting a good deal of progress on it, and I've only been working on it about 2 to 3 days, and it's going pretty easily through. There's some new techniques coming up, German short rowing in there, and some other things, so we'll see how that goes, but I'm super excited about that, and that's in our showcase base as well, which is 490 yards of 100% superwash merino. All right. One more project, guys. Yesterday, my local yarn store started a new knit-along for the Sunstruck by Laura Ayler, and this is a shawl done in color wedges, and then there's a border around the whole entirety of the shawl. And you can do it in anywhere from really 2 to 13 colors. I'm doing mine in 3 colors. Well, 4 technically. I'm going to have a black border out of my own yarn. But here is the picture of what the shawl looks like. So I really liked the 2 grays, and I almost picked up a tangerine color where the gold is there. But, and there's the name. But I decided, my local yarn store carries Madeline Tosh and a good stock of it. And I love Tosh Merino Light. I have a ton of it in my stash. But I wanted to be part of the community and really work with their yarns. And unfortunately, at least what my local yarn store owner tells me and what she's heard from Madeline Tosh, their formula for the Tart colorway, which is a deep, rich red with almost a black overwash to it, their formula and the way they dyed has changed. So the Tart that you know, at least what I hear, that colorway is going to be changing. And it's going to be much darker. So I decided, well, she had a lot of Tart. She had some in Tosh Merino Light, and I have never knit with the original Tart, so I might as well work that in. So this is some stash enhancement. This is from my local yarn store, Les Moutons Rouge Knittery, which she has a website, and she does take phone orders and will ship and all that stuff. So I picked up 3 skeins of Tosh Merino Light, and my color A is this, which is a very light gray. It's called Farmhouse White. My color B is Tart, and my color C is Great Gray Owl. Oh, I'm dunking my yarn in my coffee almost. So these are my 3 colors of my shawl, and then it'll have a black border out of one of our showstopper intermissions around the entirety of the shawl. So we cast on yesterday, and I didn't get much done, but I started with the first wedge, as you can see here, which is in the Farmhouse White. And it's done with short rowing and all that stuff. And this is done on a size 5 US, which is 3.75 millimeters. So there's that. That's what I cast on yesterday. And I told them, I said, yay, I cast on. Now it gets to be put to the side as I work on the test knit. So this is in another Fat Squirrel Fibers bag. This I picked up at SSK last year. So loved the colors and the print and everything. So, all right. Moving right along. So I might have worked on my Granny Square crocheted sock yarn blanket a little bit, but I can't remember, and I didn't want to take more of your time. So till next time. What's in rehearsal for me, as I said, I've got 2 cast-ons that'll be happening at the Super Summer Knit Together this coming week as part of my classes. I am taking the Shapely Shawls class by Romy Hill and like beginning designing with Thea Coleman. So I'm excited about that. Will I design shawls? Probably not, but you never know, and it's good information to have, right? So, all right, let's talk spinning. I've been holding on to things so I can show them to you. I finished 2 skeins of handspun and started a 3rd. So this first one I finished is some Yarn Geek Fibers BFL and Sparkle in the Might I Have Some More colorway. And I got 148 yards of a chain plied bulky weight, which this is up in our Leading Men Fiber Art shop under handspun. It's got that sparkle in there if you can see that. And it's got some creams, tans, buttery, you know, well, not buttery, golden sand, and then that dark rich brown. So really enjoyed that. I love her BFL and Sparkle. I got to bend with Sarah and her husband in Missouri, and who was Yarn Geek Fibers, and we had dinner both nights together, actually. And I told her, I was like, you got to keep that BFL Sparkle because she's thinking about getting rid of it. The second thing I finished was some Pigeon Roof Studios Superwash Merino in the Prince colorway. And I got 308 yards of a 2-ply sport weight, which looks like that. And this was a commission spin, so I've been waiting to show it to you guys so I can ship it out in the mail. Love the barber pulling. It's been spun so thin that I decided to try to keep it thinner, and then I still got a sport weight out of it. So I don't know. Tend to be going back to the thicker weights, but it is what it is. I spin for enjoyment. I'm not going to kill myself to try to spin thin. So that's that. And then I used my random number generator on my fiber stash, and it picked for me some Three Waters Farm Superfine Merino in the Blooming Treasures colorway, which was a recent Fiber of the Month club that I just got. And which is good because I need to use it. And it looks like this. Look at all this fluff. So I'm going to be doing this as a Navajo chain ply again on itself. It's got blues into grays into turquoise into dark purples, light purples, green. I mean, gorgeousness in fluff, right? So I'm working on that, enjoying that a lot on the wheel. I will not be taking my wheel with me to SSK. I don't like to travel with it. I don't think I've ever traveled with it other than when I bought it at my first SSK. I bought it secondhand off of someone. And to be honest with you, the truck is rather tight with 3 people in it when somebody has to sit in the back. And I do not want my wheel in the trailer as, you know, things can shift in movement. And I don't want anything to happen to the wheel. So... all right, in the scene shop, let's move into there. What other crafts am I working on? So let me tell you about my cross-stitching, which, again, will be put to the side for a while. Kind of losing some of the other crafts mojo, so it's fine. I've been kind of, like, cross-stitching at night, and I'm like, I really just want to knit on stuff. I want to knit, knit, knit. So I should go with my mojo, right? But I am notorious for being OCD and following a rhythm and a schedule in everything I do, not just my crafting. So this is a design from Bent Creek called Begin Row, and it looks like this. And it says a journey of 1,000 miles must begin with a single step, and it's got an alphabet sampler under the trees with large black letters highlighted in the word begin. So I've been trying to make some progress on this. I finished, I think last time I was still working on the front end. I did finish that, and I'm through V on the sampler and with A on the words. So we're good there, and we'll see how long it takes me to get that finished, but like I said, it's going to be going to the wayside for a little bit. And then the other craft I've been working on is my diamond painting, and I really didn't work on it this much, but I introduced my sister to it, And while my mom was over dog sitting, my sister came over and stayed with her last weekend. And she went to town on this. And I was like, that's completely fine. My mom was yelling at her, like, you need to stop. He's going to get upset. I'm like, you work on it, because I got no time to work on it. But you can start to see some more of the picture now. Oops. And I do have a link for this in the show notes. You can see the glistening diamonds there. This is a sticky material if you're new. And these little plastic beads are in tons of different colors. And you got symbols with a chart on the side here that tells you what color goes where. And you put the beads there. And so you can see now the trees and the park bench. So it's kind of cool. I told my sister, though, I was like, you can take it. You can work on it and just bring it back. I just don't have the time. All right, so let's move into In the Spotlight. First off, let's talk about what we're watching and reading, or what I'm watching and reading. We are back to trying to catch up and get into Season 4 of House of Cards. Enjoying that, but taking our time getting through that. Not taking my time getting through is a new Netflix original series that just came out 2 days ago, and I'm on the last episode. Now, there's only 8 episodes, and I'm not sure if it's Season 1 or if this is kind of like it, and they're doing it as like a mini-series. It is very 80s-tastic vintage, and it reminds me, I didn't look it up if it's an actual Stephen King or if they are just kind of playing homage. It's very reminiscent of a Stephen King thriller with some sci-fi and paranormal and things like that. And it's called Stranger Things. It's on Netflix, and it stars Winona Ryder amongst other people and some, a lot of new faces. It's set in the 80s, and it's really interesting with alternate dimensions and kind of demons and like I said, very Stephen King-esque. Even the font that they use for the show title reminds me of a Stephen King novel. So, but I highly recommend it. I enjoy it. I'm still trying to figure it out. I mean, I kind of figured out the basic premise rather soon in, but still enjoying it. I'm also watched an episode or two of Once Upon a Time. I've been doing a lot of podcast watching as well, and I was actually getting to the point where I was like, okay, I'm done listening about knitting. I need something different. So I listened to the radio for a while, because, I pretty much live down in the studio anymore from morning till night, and I'd listen to the radio, and then I was like, well, I can watch those too. So we did watch some movies. I think I mentioned last time that we watched The Purge with Ethan Hawke. The original, maybe I didn't, but we watched that because the new one was coming out. Granted, that new one's number 3, I think, or 4, but it was on TV, so we DVR'd it and watched that. I thought it was all right. My sister's a big fan of them, and she said number 1 was probably the worst of them all. So I did finish a book. I finished listening to Memory Man by David Baldacci. I thought it was pretty good, and I know the Grocery Girls, Jody had talked about that there was a new book out by David Baldacci that features the same protagonist, Amos Decker. And so basically the premise is this gentleman, Amos Decker, became a professional football player, and in his first game he got sacked so hard that he actually was not just knocked unconscious, he died twice, and they brought him back, and when he got hit, something happened with his brain, and things were realigned, and he could no longer forget anything. So he remembers everything from after the accident, anything he ever sees and hears and things like that. So he becomes a cop, and becomes, from there, it's a typical, serial killer cop drama, but it has a little bit of a different perspective because of his memory being what it is. So there's that. I'm hoping the dogs won't bark. They like to play little protectors out at the window in the living room. Corn dog. Sorry. All right, let's talk stash enhancement. My lighting's going. I didn't turn on the overhead light because it still seems all right, but it's getting a little darker. Corn dog. Stop. All right. Stash enhancement. So I've got some things that I picked up at Fiber U as well as some other stash enhancement. So, first off, I dyed up some new fiber for, hopefully it just stays that low. For the Super Summer Knit Together, I dyed up some merino silk, which we've had for a while, but never put in the shop. And part of my fiber supplier's problem that I don't like with them is they don't always give me full 4-ounce braids. So I get pieces, and I refuse to sell that because people want braids. So I actually had two 2.2 ounce pieces of a braid. So I dyed them for myself in the industrial colorway, which looks like this, in merino silk. So I've got a bag of fluff to eventually spin for myself. It's a little over 4 ounces. And we also had a short skein of Showcase in sour apple. We have about 92 grams or 450 yards, so I saved this for myself. I thought I could work it into a nice shawl eventually, or use it as color accent. It's great semi-solid, so that's for me. And then my Fiber of the Month club shipment came from Three Waters Farm, and this is in Fin Top, which is a wool, in the Satisfied with Summer colorway. So I already have that in the stash. And then let's talk about Fiber U. So before I show you the fibery goodness that I got at Fiber U, I want to show you this. So my leading man and myself a lot of times try to get something for the household, things that we really like, that intrigue us, and especially if they're fiber related, of course, if they're at a fiber show, but because of what we do, we like to get something fibery for the house. So we've gotten a fiber painting, which I've never showed you before, and this is actually on this right by the fiber painting because it kind of goes with the painting. The fiber painting is a cottage, a Thomas Kincaid replica of a cottage in the woods, and there was a company at Fiber U called Bare Felt Gnomes, and she does felt gnomes. There's her information. And it is Brenda Verkler, and you can find her on Facebook as Bare Felt Gnomes, or you can email her at barefeltgnomes@yahoo.com. And she does have a website because if you buy one of her gnomes, you can actually register it and you get a birth certificate and everything. So we decided to get a gnome. I'm trying to hold it off camera. And she had lots of different sizes, all the way from minis to fairly large, which is what we got. We were going to get a medium-sized one, but we couldn't agree on which one we liked. She has a lot of accoutrements that go with them, so we decided to get a large one. And so this is our gnome. Oh my gosh. I know, right? So this is real, all needle felted, and then this is real wool down here. And does this one say? It's mohair. Yeah, this is mohair. We haven't taken his tag off yet. And it's on a piece of wood, and you can see his little feet under there and his hands, and he's got a birdhouse on a stick. She had other ones that were drop spindling, and she had one that I really liked that was a stick with a bird's nest on top with some robin's eggs in them. So we liked the coloring, and it will go with our felt painting of the cottage, and it's a really cute little setup over there. So that's our gnome. All right. So what did I get fibery goodness wise at Fiber U? Let's start with Yarn Geek Fibers, because she was there and I couldn't walk away without some of her goodies. So I picked up some of her Polworth wool. This is in the Odd Duck colorway, which is a rainbow. It's a one-of-a-kind. Drew my attention, the bright neon rainbow with the dark charcoal going through it. And then I also picked up a skein of yarn from her in her Super Geek base, which is 75% Corriedale wool, 25% nylon. And it is 430 yards of a fingering weight in the Sarah Guppy colorway. And I really fell in love with this colorway. Now, what it's not picking up is there are some speckles of dark navy in there. So when I went back to my booth, I picked up a skein of our Showstopper Inhibition and Dames at Sea to pair with it. Now I was thinking socks, and then I paired it with a Joji Locatelli shawl, but I don't think I have enough yardage. It's her Spectrum shawl, and I don't think that this blue will be enough for what I'm looking for. So there's that. I'm going to get up real quick and turn on the overhead light in the hopes that I get better lighting. Hold on one second. Oh. Well, we'll see. At least you can see me a little bit better. Sorry, it looks like it's going to rain, actually. So at least maybe the colors will show up a little bit better. All right, I was also right next to Daisy Knits, and I vended with next to her like all show season. And on the last day, I decided to pick up some fiber from her as well. I got 4 ounces of Shetland. She had not named this, but I believe she decided to call it Steve Said So, because I was picking up this color in every yarn base she had dyed up and fiber. So splotches and speckles and all that fun stuff. And then I picked up 4 ounces of 60% superwash merino, 30% bamboo, 10% nylon. And I think I called this roses and mustard, or I might change it to mustard dipped roses. I don't know. It's got like a mustardy yellow with these lovely rose colored. But I just really liked the merino bamboo nylon mix. So I picked that up from her. And then I got to meet the ladies behind Show Me Yarn, which is based out of Missouri. And I picked up a skein of their self-striping. It's called their Boot Heel Base, which is a fingering weight. It's 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon, 400 yards in the Bella Star self-striping colorway. It's a neon rainbow with gray, darkened, blackened specks all over it. Sorry, my lighting's shifting. The balloon is moving. The birthday balloon I told you about is moving in front of the lights. Here's what it is. We'll deal, right? And then I met the lady behind Treasure Goddess Yarn. I had never heard of her yarn. And she had lovely, rich, jewel-toned yarns. And she had some patterns as well. So let me show you the pattern, and then I'll show you the yarn that I picked for it. This is her Simple Treasures shawl. Looks like that, and it calls for 1 skein of this yarn, which is Cashmere Super Toes MCN sock yarn. It's 80% superwash merino wool, 10% cashmere, 10% nylon, 150 grams and 600 yards. So this is in the Sea Monster colorway. So shocker, teal green. What, me? And Fiber U did give us a nice bag, all the vendors and shoppers, so all my goodies are living there. I did make an impulse buy as well. One night stalking Instagram, and then I went over and just bought it from my phone. Smartphones can be enabling. I've heard so much good things about Lolo Did It from Amber, who is Yarn Hoarder, as well as the Grocery Girls. And so I follow her on Instagram now, and I saw she's like, I only have so many of these left on my shop. This is her awesome sock, which is, again, 80% superwash merino wool, 20% nylon, 400 yards in the Zombies colorway. So it's this light blue and natural with these speckles of blood red and gray. So there's that. Let's see if I can fix this balloon situation. There we go. Just tighten the balloon down a little bit. Gives it less leeway. All right, so that was just my enabling, right? It's been 3 weeks, and I'm going to the Super Summer Knit Together this week. I need to try to be good, right? But I'm vending next to Western Sky Knits, and that's my one person that I have not tried that I'm like, I'll allow myself to get some Western Sky Knits. But then, you know, I'm amongst friends that I've vended with there now for several years, and I like their products. and we'll see what happens this week. All right, so that's it for stash enhancement, I believe, until I get to shop news. Okay, moving right along. A round of applause. I was asked by Barb of the Two Knitlit Chicks. Barb and her daughter Tracy host the Two Knitlit Chicks audio podcast, which is a great podcast. I never miss it. I love their book talk as well as their knitting talk. And she asked me to talk about their upcoming knit along, which is their Mother Bear knit along. And here's just how this works. So this is, I believe, their third year, maybe. You can knit or crochet bears for the Mother Bear Project, which distributes hand-knit bears to children in countries, mostly Africa, that have been affected by HIV and AIDS. So most of these children have lost their parents due to these diseases. Any bears that are knit or crocheted in 2016 are eligible to be entered in the Two Knitlit Chicks FO thread for prizes, and you should put in a separate photo of each bear that you make in order to get a different entry into the prize drawings. Last year they had 313 bears entered into their knit along, and they want to beat that number this year. So they're asking a lot of their podcaster friends to talk about their knit along. The knit along runs from July 1st, so it's already started, that you could enter your projects. But again, any bears knit or crocheted in 2016 count, and it goes all the way to the end of September. They are getting a ton of prizes for this knit along. Leading Men Fiber Arts donated a $20 gift certificate, but they have tons of other prizes as well. You must be a member of their group in order to be eligible to win, and you can go to their group, which is 2 Knit Lit Chicks podcast, and find their group on Ravelry for more information. So it's a great cause, and I'm more than willing to donate to charity knit-alongs like this. So, all right. So go check out the Two Knitlit Chicks group and the Mother Bear knit-along if you're so inclined. Fortunately, you won't see me doing it. I don't do stuffies and toys and whatnot, but I'm more than willing to help the cause. So, guys. Sorry if you have earbuds. There's not much I can do. Boys, stop. All right, so let's move into our knit along. So our featured designer knit along has wrapped up. That ended in the end of June, and we had, I think, about 25 entries in there. So I drew for a winner, and up for grabs as a prize, I pulled this. This was donated by a lovely viewer. You know who you are, Kim. And she donated a pattern set. So we have all these wonderful patterns going to the winner. And let me just show you the patterns really quickly. This is from Blue Sky Alpaca's Yarn. This is the Tokyo Tower bandana. Spud and Chloe, we have the Snowflake pullover. The Chill Chaser cardigan. The Krabby cap. The Wingtip cowl. And then from Luette, we have Tantalus and Makalu. So you're getting all those patterns. So I thought, why not just do a pattern set? So the winner of our featured designer knit along was number 8, who is Hot Pink Socks, and that's Stephanie from Orange City, Iowa. And she did a Night at the Theater shawl by Lucia Payne, who is, of course, one of our featured designers. And the Night at the Theater was designed out of Leading Men Fiber Arts. She did it out of county wool, and it was beautiful. So, Stephanie, congratulations. Please get in contact with me via Ravelry, Dramatic Knits. Let me know your first and last name and mailing address, and I'll get those out to you as soon as I can. I will be out of town for the Super Summer Knit Together, so it may be next week before those get out. Wow, it's getting really dark. It's going to storm here. Glad I turned on the light, because we'd be sitting in pitch darkness right now. Thank you for everyone who entered. Speaking of the featured designer knit along, we do have a new knit along going on in our group, the Dramatic Knits video podcast group. It is the Redemption Cal, however you want to pronounce it, K-A-L, craft along. So basically, here's the premise of that. It started July 1st and it goes through August 31st, I think. And any knit along that you have not finished, you can go back and finish those projects and enter it in our knit along. How about that? So we encourage you to finish up those things you started as knit alongs with other groups, local yarn stores, whatever. And just tell us when you post a picture of the FO thread or a picture of the finished objects in our FO thread, what the knit along was, maybe the dates that it ran, if there were any challenges or what caught you up as to why you couldn't finish. Now, if you're like me and you finish all your stuff, albeit late sometimes, but you finish it, you can post finished object photos of things that you finish that are current knit alongs. So, boys, I think it's the neighbors. I should have shut the drapes. Live and learn, right? Sorry, I tell myself to look at the camera. All right, our June Race to the Finished Object contest has ended as well, and our first prize was the Zombie Knit Apocalypse project bag, the goodie bag that came to its attendees, which was done, it's a dumpling bag by the Silver Shed USA, and this was actually all the featured mini pack that came with it, and knit up into a swatch and printed into fabric. While I love it, and it's even got some Leading Men fibers in it, it's not something I'm going to carry around. So I gave it up to you guys. Inside has some other goodies. You can see this lovely dotted chevron fabric. It's got a notions pouch with some coupon codes and other goodies in there as well. So that is going to one lucky winner. And the winner for the June Race to the Finished Object contest was number 235, who is DG White, and that is Denise from Seattle. And she did a chemo hat. So congratulations, Denise. Please email me, Dramatic Knits on Ravelry, with your first and last name and mailing address, and I'll get this out to you, so congratulations. We had a second winner for a pattern from our featured designer, and our featured designer was Nicole Drouillard, and the winner of any pattern of hers that can be gifted on Ravelry was number 47, who is Catherine Kirby, and that is Catherine from Hanover, Pennsylvania, and she did a knit purse. So congratulations, Catherine. Again, if you would please email me, Dramatic Knits on Ravelry, with what pattern by Nicole Drouillard, who I've linked to in our show notes on dramaticknits.com. Let me know what pattern of hers that you would like, and I will let Nicole know, and she'll gift it to you. All right. Ooh, wind's picking up. Fun storm time. So July is in full swing. We are more than halfway through July, but our July Race to the Finished Object contest thread is also open. Again, we have two wonderful prizes. The first is another Silver Shed USA bag. This is a small project bag that she donated to me at the Zombie Knit Apocalypse. This is in Lady Men Fiber Arts yarn in our NV colorway. And inside it has the pearl stitches. And I've also thrown in a needle gauge from Simply Socks Yarn Company. So this is going to be the goodie prize for the July Race to the Finished Object contest. And how that works is we have a thread in our Ravelry group that if anything you finish in the month of July, post a picture in the thread, and that gets you an entry into the drawing. You must be a member of the group. Doesn't matter when you start the project, but it must be finished in the month that you are entering. The second prize for July is a new feature designer, and it's a pattern from them. And our new feature designer for the next 6 months is Laura Linneman, who is one of the Knit Girls, and she is Lala on Ravelry, Lala, and she has Lala Designs with a lot of wonderful designs, and she tells me that she hopefully will have some new ones upcoming soon, so that's exciting. So Laura is going to be our feature designer for the next 6 months, so she starts us off in July. So, all right, I think that is pretty much it. How are we doing? Ooh, almost an hour. So let's move into center stage. All things Leading Men Fiber Arts. If you are not interested in Leading Men Fiber Arts, I will say adieu. I will see you in 2 weeks, where I will give you, Callie and I will give you our SSK recap and show you what we've worked on while at the retreat. So let's talk Leading Men Fiber Arts. Before I show you what's been updated, which is a lot in the past 3 weeks, let me tell you about some upcoming shows. So as I said, we're going to be vending at the Super Summer Knit Together in Nashville, Tennessee There is an open market in the afternoon, I believe, from 1 to 4. So if you're within driving distance of Nashville, check it out. It's got amazing vendors this year. I believe it's a $5 fee to get in, but you can pre-register and buy your ticket on their website, which is supersummerknittogether.com. And the first 100 people who purchase a ticket will get a goodie when they show up to the market. Like I said, we have a new colorway premiering there just for SSK, but it will be in the shop shortly thereafter. It is called the Great Sweater Debate, and it was inspired by a rather heated discussion about a particular sweater on a recent episode of the Knit Girls. And I texted both the ladies and I said, give me 3 colors you want to see in a sweater, and I made a speckled variegated goodness out of those colors. So there's that. August 4th through 7th, Leading Men Fiber Arts will be at Stitches Midwest in Schaumburg, Illinois. We are super excited. We are going to be in 3 booths this year. It was supposed to be just a double booth, but we just tacked on an extra booth this week. So we're super excited to have tons of room for shopping and discussing, and we even have help in our booth this year, which is exciting. So there will be people there ready to help be your personal shoppers and pair yarn colors and pattern selections so that you can make the best and well-informed yarn and pattern shopping experience in the Leading Men Fiber Arts booths. We will be in booths 625, 627, and 629 in the back third section of the Schaumburg Convention Center, but it's going to be exciting. So we also just tagged down that we told you that we're going to have a new shawl design in our booth with kits from Sarah Burkhart Abram. She is also going to be in the booth, hopefully most of the weekend. We'll have to see how our schedule plays out, but she will have a table in the booth with all of her designs selling her patterns in our booth as well. So you can meet and greet and talk with her. She will also help you with yarn selections if need be. So that's super exciting to have, you know, an up-and-coming but pretty well-known designer in our booth as well. So that's Stitches. And then after that, we get a little bit of a break. And we're back. So I had to do a little bit of video editing here because the iPad did run out of memory, but we'll give it its props. It recorded for an hour. So I downloaded the video to the computer and got rid of it on the iPad, so hopefully we now have more storage on the iPad. Sorry if you can hear thunder and lightning. We are still in the midst of a storm, but I thought I would show you what we updated for the last 3 weeks. So, where to begin? We're just going to show you what we've updated. So, on Showstopper Intermission, which is a half skein of Showstopper, we have My Lip Gloss Be Poppin'. On Soliloquy, which is 100% superwash BFL, 657 yards fingering weight, we have Merlot. Again, well, I've got the overhead light on, but the lighting is still a little wonky. On Winter Night, or on Box Office, our worsted weight, we have Winter Night. Lovely shades of blue and white. We also have it on Showstopper. And we also have it on Superwash Merino. Yeah, I did it on some fiber. On Showstopper, we also have Poison Ivy. And on Showstopper Minis, we have Mother Earth, Yarnakuchen, Popeye's Delight, Green Gables, and Winter Shrubbery. On a Spotlight mini skein set, this is 80% superwash BFL, 20% nylon. We have a Director's Interpretation, which is a one-of-a-kind. Perfection, Copper Cloud, Rusted, and Poison Apple. We have a Merlot Gradient set. This is on Soliloquy again. It's 650 yards in total. Each mini skein is 130 yards approximately in 5 different shades. On Superwash Merino again, we have some Drag Queen. Venetian Sunset, all this is on Superwash Merino. And Mornings in the Backyard. We also have some Neon Pencil. Showcase, we have the Grouch. On Box Office, we have Dames at Sea. It's a little darker than normal, but it's a really dark navy. On Showstopper, Boyhood. Popeye's Delight again on Showstopper. We have a Razzle Dazzle gradient set. So this is not a typical gradient. It is done by speckling, and each mini skein incorporates a new speckle color. So you increase in the colors as well the intensity of the speckling due to the number of colors incorporated. This is Razzle Dazzle number 3. And I've had questions about repeating the Razzle Dazzles. We do not write down the recipes. We make 10 sets when we do a Razzle Dazzle, and they are done. They are one of a kind. So unfortunately, we can't repeat them. Showstopper, we have Yarnakuchen. Showstopper Intermission, Double Your Pleasure. That is coming out blue. It is a spearmint green. On Dramaturg, our DK weight, we have Pipeline. Dramaturg, we have Copper Cloud. Box Office, worsted weight, we have Turkey Run. Sorry, I'm making sure it's still recording. Showstopper Intermission, we have Darkest Hour. Spotlight, we have Shot in the Dark. Dramaturg, we have Blue Ink. Playbill, which is a single ply DK, we have Drag Queen. Looks like the storm's let up a little bit. Soliloquy, we have Royalty. Starting to get the mound. Showcase, we have Emerald City. Soliloquy, we have Dirty Truce. Showcase, we have Avery. Spotlight, or Callback, our sport weight, we have Emerald City. Callback again, we have Minty Fresh. Spotlight, we have Seaweed. Dramaturg, we have Rubber Ducky. Dramaturg, we have Apocalypse. And last but not least, on Callback, we have a skein of Imperfection. So it has subtle gray speckles in it. So that's everything that's been updated in the last 3 weeks. Then some. Maybe a few other things. So check out the shop. It's leadingmenfiberarts.bigcartel.com. As always, if you don't see what you're looking for, there is a custom orders tab on the top of the shop. If you'd like to see Leading Men Fiber Arts in your local yarn store, please pass along our website information. There is a wholesale order form and information tab up at the top. And if you're wondering if a local yarn store near you carries our product, down at the bottom of our website, you will see a tab that says retail locations, and it lists all the stores that we are in, as well as shows and festivals, so you can see what where we'll be in person in our future scheduled shows. So you can follow us on Instagram as Leading Men Fiber Arts, and our Facebook and Ravelry group is Leading Men Fiber Arts as well. We'd love if you join our Ravelry group for the Dramatic Knits video podcast group, and you can find the show on iTunes as well as YouTube. We'd love if you subscribe to either one over there. Leave comments and star ratings would be appreciated. So I think that's it for this episode, which is episode 261. I did look that up during our quick break. And like I said, we'll be in Nashville next week, both Callie and I, at the Super Summer Knit Together. If you're going to be there or attend the market, please do not be afraid to come up and say hi. I do suffer from RBF, which is resting B-word face. So if I look angry, I'm really not. I just don't have an expression on my face. So please come up and say hi, start a conversation. I am not the best at starting conversations, but once you engage me, I can talk your ear off for hours. So as you guys know from the podcast, right? All right, so until we see each other again in 2 weeks, I hope you knit something dramatic.